How's it going, everybody? We are back. Another episode on Sportified with me, Kher. Pandey is, as always, with me. And today, like we promised you the last time, we're going to be chatting all about the Indian contingent at Tokyo 2020 in 21. Sid, get him off.
Sid, it's a pleasure to be here discussing what else but the greatest show on earth. It's upon us, and India's finest are headed to Tokyo. In this show, we are going to discuss in depth India's contingent, our athletes, our chances at Tokyo in each event where we stand to win a medal. We are going to do our own analysis on Gracenote's virtual medal tally. We're going to talk about where the medals are going to come from, where they should have come from but won't be coming from. We're going to talk about a few exits in Indian sport, curtain call for a few athletes, and a lot more. So, Sid, let's get going.
Where do we start from? Well, let's just say, what about the first Indian medal? Yeah, let's think about, we just sat through this a while back, and to sum it up, from 1950 or 52 I think, from 1952 till the 2016 Rio Olympics, India's medal tally has been 14, all right? And between 1952 and 1996, that was the gap from the first to the second medal. Now, here's where things get a little bit crazy. As Sid mentioned earlier, Gracenote has come out and made a prediction that India stands to win 17 medals at the Olympics. So just let that sink in for a minute. From 1952 to 2016, we've won 14. But now, our contingent is on the verge of possibly 17. Sid, are they messing with us?
No, it doesn't seem that they are messing with us, but yeah, the numbers that you have put out, which are not your numbers, obviously, history is witness to these events and these medals that India has won. The first one was won by KD Jadhav, and when Sid Kher said 14 medals from 1952 to 2016, he meant 14 medals minus hockey, or medals that came apart from those that were won in hockey. So just to tell our listeners who are not quite aware or may not be aware of what Gracenote is, Gracenote is actually a Nielsen subsidiary. The virtual medal tally by Gracenote is prepared based on results that the athletes have achieved in previous Olympics, World Cups, and World Championships. Now, this virtual medal tally also comes with a time factor. So recent events and recent performances by these athletes have more weightage than events that have taken place a long time ago.
Right.
Exciting. It is very, very exciting that these algorithms, if not anything more, it is statistical data. It is data that is fed into computers that throw out these results. So according to this, India is going to win 17 medals.
Minus hockey.
Minus hockey, yeah. We'll come to that. We'll come to that when we do a deep dive into India's medal hopes in our contingent. But these 17 medals is not only going to be better, we're not only going to better our all-time medal tally from all the medals that we won minus hockey from 1952 to 2016, but it's going to be a plus 15 from Rio.
Yeah.
That is an unbelievable jump. On that virtual medal tally also, if we win 17 medals, India would have been the 6th biggest improvement in terms of countries winning medals from Rio to Tokyo. So the 6th biggest improvement by any country would be that of India. Netherlands leads the biggest improvement, but India will be 6th on that tally. To win nothing between 52 and 1996 when Leander Paes won the bronze in the men's singles at Atlanta, to win another bronze in Sydney, improve that a little bit in Athens. Finally, we did much better, and we won 3 medals in Beijing, but there were others at the margins who could have also won medals.
Very close margins, in fact.
Akhil Kumar, Saina Nehwal. We did even better. There was a double, there was a jump in London, a significant jump. We significantly underachieved in Rio. Most of our athletes, most of our federations see Rio as a blip. Now, this has been our history. It's been an underwhelming history in the Olympic Games. To go from there to win all of a sudden around 17 medals at Tokyo, that is just going to be life changing for athletes, game changing for Indian sport, and
Right.
it's just going to send everybody into a absolute frenzy.
Frenzy. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the only thing that I'd want to come out, I mean, and like you rightly said, if we do manage to pull this off or get anywhere even close to it, like no pressure. I mean, come on, 17, let's get 15. That's cool. But what that will do is flip the face of Indian sports. And that's what we've said with Sportified. That's what we want eventuality. And eventually is that Indian sports sees a flip side, a betterment, more athletes get more encouraged. Maybe these games that are being questioned in the situations and amongst the situations that they're being held, it might just turn around and have a flip side to it all.
Absolutely, there is no doubt about that. And as I said, game changing for Indian sport. I think people like me who have played Olympic sports, field hockey being my sport, that is my background, we've been waiting for a big Olympic Games. We thought it would have been Rio, but for various reasons, it was not to be. Anyhow, heading to Tokyo and going straight into what we believe the medals will come from, where they will come from. One thing is for certain, Sid. If India is to get anywhere close to that number that Gracenote has put out, the heavy lifting in the Indian contingent as far as medal goes will have to be done by our shooters. They have to be on song in Tokyo if India is to get anywhere near that number of 17.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, without wasting any more time, I think let's just jump right into the prediction that Gracenote has made, and let's just take it from there.
Sure, Gracenote says that Indian shooting is going to win 8 medals. But before we get into Tokyo, I would really want us to rewind a little bit and start from Rio. Rio was a debacle for Indian shooting,
Yeah.
for a lot of other Indian sports as well. But for Indian shooting, especially coming on the back of the London Olympic Games, a lot of people were expecting many, many more medals coming through shooting, which
Right.
did not quite happen. Credit here and credit where credit's due. A lot of our federation gets, they get a lot of brickbats. Some of it deserved, some of it not quite deserved. But again, credit where credit's due. The NRAI, the National Rifle Association of India,
Yep.
and its head, Raninder Singh, have done an unbelievable job since Rio. And I'll tell you what they've done. As soon as the contingent came back from Rio, correctives were put in place. A 4-member committee was formed with no less than Abhinav Bindra as its head. And it had 2 journalists amongst those 4, very senior journalists such as Digvijay Singh Deo. They had to go in depth into the performance of Indian shooters, say what went wrong, and chart out a map for the future. They put out a 38-page report, which is a fascinating read. That report was implemented, a new junior program. The most significant thing to have come out of that report was a new junior program in Indian shooting that came into place, that was put into place. The second most significant thing was how Indian shooting has rehabilitated some of our previous stars, such as Jaspal Rana, back into coaching our juniors, back into the coaching setup. The result of that is, from Rio till Tokyo, we don't have to depend or don't have to look out for one Abhinav Bindra or one Gagan
Right.
Narang or one Rajyavardhan Rathod. We stand to win medals in every shooting category. Every single day that the shooting event is held in Tokyo, India stands to win a medal. There's a chance that we will win a medal in every category where India has a shooter. That is the most significant thing that has happened in Indian shooting and perhaps in Indian sport.
Well, I mean, and I think everyone or every sporting association has to take a leaf out of that book, because having followed such a simple process, the ecosystem within the sport has changed in such a way, in such a short amount of time, that we are actually looking, or rather, I could say we're being so confident that with every shooting event that we could stand a chance. So the thought of if something like this is inculcated in every sort of sports association, we just don't know what we might be on the fold of.
Absolutely, I could not agree. And with people like Jaspal Rana in place, Sid, we've got Manu Bhakar, we've got Saurabh, we've got Anjum, we've got Apurvi. The future of Indian shooting is just unbelievable. I've not even named the likes of Anish Bhanwala, Elavanil Valarevan. We've just got a host of shooters that are not just competing but winning medals consistently in senior categories.
Right.
Now, Gracenote says 8. If we are to get to 17, we've got to get these 8 and more.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are seriously optimistic about our shooters. Before the Olympics, we promise our listeners that we are going to get a special on shooting. We'll get a guest who knows Indian shooting in depth, and we will talk about all our medal prospects in shooting in depth in just our shooting team. But right now, shooting looks fantastic. Credit to the NRAI. Also credit to the way they handled the pandemic situation.
Right,
Before we
right.
move on to another sport, it is important to note how they handled the pandemic situation, how they took care
Yep.
of our athletes, how they saw to it. Remember, all our shooters qualified for Tokyo in 2019.
Correct.
So they had not 1 year, but they've had 2 years to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Now, in the COVID pandemic situation that we found ourselves in, a lot of athletes have been crying out for competition. But the shooters, they've flown out to Europe. Flights were chartered to
Yeah.
get them to Europe, to have them compete at the European Championships. And the way the NRAI has gone about it all, it has been quite spectacular. So credit to you guys at the NRAI, and for our shooters, good luck to you all. This could be the biggest moment in Indian shooting in a very, very long time.
We're here. Team Sportified is going to be rooting for you guys. All our best energies go out to you. But Sid, quickly, a lot of you know, or some might not. Sid has been closely associated with the Khelo India Games, and I've been waiting to ask him this question. Along your journey with the Khelo India Games, have you possibly had a chance to spot any of these superstars, or have you watched any of them perform?
It's really a matter of pride for me, Sid, being a sports broadcaster, to be associated with the Khelo India Games, that entire project, to see people such as Manu Bhakar, Saurabh Chaudhary live, to see other shooters, to see athletes, Sri Hari Nataraj in swimming. I'm just taking names here straight off the bat that are coming into my mind straight off. It is amazing to see these youngsters who are full of hope, full of passion. And, 17 is not a crazy number, because there are certain federations in India, not all, that are doing a lot of things right. Now, sticking with shooting, for example, after the committee's recommendations, the NRAI now spends 60% of its funds into the junior program. So
Wow.
where we had a few shooters in each category, now we have hundreds of shooters coming through, especially from places such as Punjab, Chandigarh, Delhi, along with, places that were shooting hotspots such as Maharashtra and Mumbai. So we've just got hundreds in each category now, and I've seen these shooters front on. So it's just amazing how this is, and Khelo India gives me a sneak peek into what India's future is, and it's amazing to see these youngsters coming through, such as Manu Bhakar, such as Saurabh Chaudhary, Sri Hari Nataraj, and the others. It's quite amazing.
So now that we're done with that, where else did Gracenote say? Let's get back to that prediction. We were 8 with shooting, and I think what did they say? 4 or 5 with boxing?
You're absolutely right. They said four in boxing, which is again a very, very big number. Remember, boxing got us medals in Beijing. It got us medals in London.
Yeah.
Just like shooting, we got no medals in Rio. But If they get 4, boxing, just like shooting, is going to be back literally with a bang. One of the medals there, Sid, is going to be that of a certain 38-year-old boxing legend from India called MC Mary Kom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think in our books, she will always go down as the GOAT. And as much as we've celebrated this journey of Mary's and we've watched her punch her way through it, it's also just a bit sad to think that this possibly could be her last Olympics. And I'm sure she wants to bow out with a medal. No two ways about it.
You know what, Sid? Had this athlete, this wonder, retired in 2010, 11 years ago, she would still have gone down in history as one of our greatest athletes. Make no doubt about it. To that decade, she's added another brilliant decade of athletic performance. The crowning glory, of course, is the medal that she won in London. What was great about that medal, winning any medal at the Olympic Games of any color is great. But for MC Mary Kom, not a lot of people know that MC Mary Kom's original weight category was actually 46 kilograms. That is where she used to fight. There was no 46 kilograms at the Olympic Games. There was no 48 kilograms at the Olympic Games. There was no 50 kilograms at the Olympic Games. The starting weight category at the Olympic Games in London was 51 kilograms. A weight category in which MC Mary Kom had never competed. Credit again to her coaches, to the high performance directors at the Indian boxing. She was taken from 48 first to around 46 to 49. I beg your pardon. It was then made 50 in 2011. And finally, in the last year, they made her compete in the 51 kilogram. To go from 46 kilograms to 51 kilograms, win a medal, and consistently perform against boxers in a combat sport who are bigger than you, stronger than you, strike harder than you. For me, that's unbelievable.
Unreal. And that towards the end of it. It's not like she did all of this or they were training her right at the beginning. If it's all at the beginning, it's great. But when you've had 10 years of getting yourself beaten up along with beating other people up, and then you start switching weight categories, man, I don't think there's going to be another one like her. Or have you seen one of those too?
Well, it's really they're very, very big boots to fill. I'm really excited about some of our boxers coming through, but to compare any one of them at this stage in their career is just unfair to them. It's like comparing anybody to, say, a Sachin Tendulkar or a Dhyan Chand. It's not possible.
It's not possible, right.
These athletes come around once in a while and they take your breath away. Let me give you another stat on MC Mary Kom. Mary Kom is the only boxer, male or female, to have won 8 World Championship medals. 8 medals at the World Championships. I'm talking about legends such as Cuba's Felix Savon. She's won more World Championship medals than Felix Savon. Felix Savon was known as the Muhammad Ali of amateur boxing. They were contemporaries and people wanted to see Savon and Ali fight. That never happened, unfortunately. But she's in that league, and it's just crazy. I mean, after the Olympic bronze medal, she has not stopped. 2014 Asiad gold, 2016 she had a blip in Rio, came back just like a champion would, won the gold at CWG, Asian Boxing Championship gold, and just a few weeks ago, she lost the final by a split decision. Otherwise, she would have been the best boxer in Asia at 38 years of age.
That's just ridiculous.
That is quite ridiculous. Apart from MC Mary Kom, they've gone on and said we are going to win 3 more medals at Tokyo in boxing. I think they have missed a trick there. And I'll tell you why I think they have missed a trick there. Because they've missed out on one boxer who everybody in the Indian boxing scene is saying is going to win a medal. I'm talking about Vikas Krishan Yadav. Vikas Krishan Yadav is the last remaining boxer from our golden generation of boxers, the bunch of boxers that came post Athens. I'm talking about Akhil Kumar, I'm talking about Vijender Singh, Jai Bhagwan, Neeraj Goyat. From that batch came Vikas Krishan Yadav. Vikas Krishan Yadav was actually roommates with Neeraj Goyat. And it's unbelievable how, as yet, he's not won a medal. He's that good. He really is that good. And if you speak to anybody in the boxing fraternity here in India, they are amazed at his physical conditioning right now. He is in amazing physical condition. He is going all guns blazing for that medal. Amit Pangal has been our most consistent boxer over the last 2-3 years. He's been world number one. I think he still is world number one. He is hovering around that gold medal, which is massive. He's hovering around that gold medal. Chances are that he's going to get it. He needs to have a very, very good Olympic Games. Goes without saying, you don't win an Olympic gold medal if you're not spot on at the Olympic Games. But we are all very excited about Amit Pangal, but I think Vikas Krishan Yadav is one of those medal contenders that not a lot of people are giving serious thought to. So watch out for Vikas Krishan Yadav. You heard it here first at Sportified.
That's what I was just going to say. I was just going to say, disclaimer, that's a little secret that you heard here first. So, right, so that's 8 with shooting, 4 with boxing. That puts us at 12. What do they say next? Where are we at?
Well, I think we should go to a sport where they have not predicted India will get a medal before we go back to our
We're
medal
letting out
tally.
all our secrets first? Okay, let's do that. Okay.
And I think Gracenote really has missed a trick with the Indian men's hockey team. And the Indian men's hockey team, they have missed a trick with, because the Indian men's hockey team last medaled at the Olympic Games 41 years ago. Last year, 2020, was the 40th anniversary of India's last Olympic gold medal. We won it in Moscow. Mohammad Shahid, Vasudev Bhaskaran, Zafar Iqbal were part of that great team that won that Olympic gold back in Moscow. Since then, we've not just not won a gold in Olympic hockey, we've not medaled in Olympic hockey. Various reasons, there's no need to get into that. I think right now, the Indian hockey team, the Indian men's hockey team, is a medal contender. And I'll tell you why. Also, one of the reasons why Gracenote has not predicted India will win a medal is because when India finishes first, second, or third, or even fourth in our pool, which I don't think is going to happen, I think India is going to finish first or second in our pool. The other pool has Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. Belgium and Netherlands are going all guns blazing.
A group of death.
Yeah, it really is a group of death. Germany is not very far off from those two nations either, and they have a knack of hitting their best form at the Olympic Games.
Yep.
So if we get out of our pool, second, third, or fourth, we will be meeting one of Netherlands, Belgium, or Germany. And Gracenote thinks we're going to lose that game. I don't think so. We stumbled at the quarterfinals in Rio. I think we've learned a lot from Rio.
Right.
I think we've learned a lot from the mistakes we've made in Rio, what we did wrong, what we did right. And in the last 2 or 3 years, the Indian hockey team has been consistently winning against the best teams in the world. Further proof of that came last month when we went to Argentina to play the FIH Pro League. Argentina being the defending champions, we went to Argentina, played 4 games. The performances and the results were quite outstanding. So I think finally, after 40 years, the Indian men's hockey team will medal at this Olympic Games. I think they're going to go one step further, one step more than Rio, and they're going to make it to the semi-finals. For the Indian women's hockey team, I think Tokyo comes a little early. I think we've got a fantastic team. I am saying that we are a golden decade of hockey, women's hockey is upon us. It's going to be a great decade for
That's
Indian
a big
women's
statement.
hockey. Yeah, I think we are also going to be right up there with the medals for the Junior World Cup, the Women's Junior World Cup, which is coming up. So I think a great decade of Indian women's hockey is upon us. But Tokyo, for this batch, with eight hockey players making their debut in the women's team, 8 of them have never been to the Olympic Games. Remember, our team went to the 2016 Olympic Games again for the first time since Moscow. So that would not have been easy.
Right.
I am of the firm opinion, Siddharth, that any high performance structure that is put in place takes 10 years to deliver results. For the men's hockey team, we put a structure in place in 2010. Jose
Wow.
Brasa came in, uh, legend in coaching circles world over. We put a high performance structure in place, which now I feel finally is going to bear fruit. We are going to finally medal after 10 years. For the Indian women's team, if I were to put a date to when a high performance culture was put into place, I would put that date at 2014. And so
A bit short.
we're still a bit short.
But still, fingers crossed. I
Fingers
still want to
crossed.
say fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
Rani
Let's see they
Rampal.
can shake
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
pressure and just show
absolutely.
up on the world stage.
You never know. You never know. Ireland were the second lowest ranked team in women's hockey at the World Cup, the last women's World Cup. They went right to the finals and lost to the Dutch team. So in sport, you never know. The way Rani has led her team, there is a
Right.
whole bunch of youngsters such as Lalrem Siami, Sharmila that are coming through. There are some veterans in the team. Vandana has been around for a long time. Savita, the goalkeeper, has been around for a long time. Gurjeet has been performing consistently for a long time. There are others in the team who have been playing very well. It's a very good team, make no doubt about that. We've got a very good coaching staff to back them up. I just feel with the lack of competition has really hurt them, or may just hurt them. In the past year, there's been a lack of competition, and it's just a little bit too early for them to go out and perform at their best in a tournament like the Olympic Games with that amount of lack of competition. But bright future awaits, and it is exciting times for women's hockey in India.
We're still going to be supporting you, and we're still going to be hoping that you come back with any color medal is cool. We'll still be here. So now let's get back. What else did these guys predict? Where are we at? Where are we at? Wrestling. What's happening with wrestling? Jesus Christ! Why did I even say that? Anyways, but yes. So they're predicting a medal out of wrestling. We've always shown up, but unfortunately this year we've had a blemish on the sport, and I don't know whether anyone's going to say it or not say it, but that's the way I look at it. Um, and I am talking about Sushil Kumar, a sportsman who's represented India at two Olympics, and he possibly would have done it a third time. He could have created history. Unfortunately, the sport has taken a hammering over incidents that everybody is quite aware of. Um, that does put the sport and the federation, I'm sure, in a bit of doubt, and there are questions being asked. Sid, what do you, I mean, I don't know. I've just been so taken aback with this whole thing that I don't know. Will the rest? He's been such an influential figure in the wrestling scene that does the contingent feel positive, negative? Do they feel like one of our biggest heroes or someone that they've been inspired by has gone so horribly wrong? Does that energy go with them?
So I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the way I look at this. Said again, before we come to Tokyo, let's rewind to Rio. Rio was an absolute disaster, save for Sakshi Malik. Had she not won that medal, uh, Indian wrestling was just down in the dumps in Rio. We had a great prospect in Vinesh Fogart.
Yep.
Everybody
Yep.
was backing her. We were wondering where our medals are going to come from. She was going to get a medal. She crashed out with an injury. All our hearts broken. Sakshi Malik out of nowhere wins a medal, saves the day. But what went on before Rio, the entire Narsingh Yadav doping controversy in which Sushil Kumar was heavily involved, was just such a dark cloud over our wrestlers. It just threw a lot of them off. Yogeshwar Dutt has spoken about this in public. Wrestlers could not concentrate on what lay ahead of them. That is not ideal preparation going into an Olympic Games. Fast forward 5 years from now, Tokyo, and we all know what's happened with Sushil Kumar. It does not need to be repeated. But I'll tell you the way I look at this is the most motivated athletes at Tokyo are going to be our wrestlers. Because what you spoke about, said, is so true. This blemish, this blot on Indian wrestling can only be wiped out by one thing and one thing only: super performances at Tokyo with medals hanging around our wrestlers' neck coming back to India. We've got a bunch of extremely talented next gen wrestlers. Gracenote says three. I will go one ahead and say more than three. More than three.
One more secret.
We've got Bajrang Punia, Deepak Punia, Ravi Dahiya, and Vinesh Fogart. Now, these are four top class wrestlers. Vinesh, just less than a week ago, I think, just
Yeah,
won gold.
champ. Yeah.
Just confirming that in her weight category, she is second to none.
And I think her all the competitions leading to the Olympics, she's just been killing it.
Absolutely. Apart from these four, and I'll repeat their names: Bajrang Punia, Deepak Punia, Ravi Dahiya, and Vinesh Fogart. I see another exciting wrestler coming through, Anshu Malik. Anshu Malik's career trajectory has been very much like that of Geeta Fogart. If you see the parallels between the two, they are quite similar. She is a tigress, Anshu Malik. She's got a big wrestling career ahead of her. She just needs to put her head down, work hard. Uh, Tokyo may be a bit too early, but I'm really optimistic about her chances. So Gracenote says three. I think there is another medal lurking somewhere in Indian wrestling. So yeah, I think they are going to be highly motivated. It's Indian wrestling is where Indian cricket was after the match fixing scandal, where a lot
Wow.
of our cricketers said, you know, it's these are
You
bad
just have to
times.
set it straight. You just have to set the
These are
record
bad
straight.
times.
Yeah.
We just have to set this straight.
Yeah.
And so you saw Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, VVS Lakshman, people of impeccable integrity, just doing their best, winning Test series against Australia, going abroad, beating teams. Years later, the base was already there. We win the World Cup, and the match fixing scandal is forgotten. We win the T20 World Cup. A couple of years later, we win the 50 over World Cup. The IPL starts, and the match fixing scandal is forgotten. I think Indian wrestling is there right now. It's the biggest scandal to have hit Indian wrestling. Narsingh Yadav's doping scandal was bad enough. It left a really bad taste in the mouth. But this is going beyond that. This is worse than that. And I think the most motivated athletes in Tokyo are going to be India's wrestlers. Gracenote says three. I say 3+.
Excellent. I mean, I love the optimism, and I'd love to believe that there's this fire burning in each one of their bellies to want to set this record straight, to wipe the slate clean, and put wrestling right back where it belongs to this country. And like we've always shown up, it's due. What is are we left? I think there's one more. Weightlifting. Yes, sir. I know you love this athlete, so I'm going to leave it all up to you. Sid's been watching this one really closely, so I'm not going to take this one up. Let them in on the weightlifting.
No, absolutely. Mirabai Chanu is an athlete I only have immense respect for. I adore her for what she's achieved and what she's achieving. I think winning a medal is only going to be fair because she's just brilliant. She has been brilliant. Why does Gracenote say she's going to win a medal? It's fairly obvious. It's between Mirabai Chanu, who has been winning bronze or silver, more often than not bronze, in her weight category, and ahead of her are two Chinese weightlifters. At least one of them is definitely ahead of Mirabai Chanu. Like, she's definitely ahead of Mirabai Chanu. There's no doubt about it. Along with Mirabai Chanu, there was a North Korean weightlifter. These four, this quartet, is the quartet who used to fight for medals in this particular weight category, the weight category of Mirabai Chanu. North Korea has pulled out of the Olympic Games. They are not sending any athlete for health and safety reasons. The weightlifters who are usually placed 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th are way behind this quartet. So all that Mirabai Chanu has to do is be herself,
And show
perform the way she and show up. Yeah, perform the way she has been performing, which is exemplary. There has been no weightlifter that this country has produced that is anywhere close to Mirabai Chanu. And I say this with a lot of respect for Kanam Maleshwari. What she did in Sydney was amazing. She won a bronze. She, well, almost that's the only medal we won at Sydney. So credit to her. What she's done for Indian weightlifting is amazing. But I think we are reclaiming lost ground in Indian weightlifting. Indian weightlifting has got a lot of bad press. The federation got banned. There have been doping scandals. There have been X, Y, Z that has gone wrong with Indian weightlifting. This is not the time to get into that. It's time to be optimistic. Also, another talking about Khelo India, one weightlifter that I spotted at Khelo India, watch out for him in the future, is Jeremy. Comes from the Northeast. Watch out for Jeremy. He is quite amazing. Future of Indian weightlifting in the men's category. But yeah, let's not take away from Mirabai. She had a bit of a shoulder problem. She's gone to the USA to correct that. The Government of India, Weightlifting Federation, SAI all pulled in, said we are going to support her in every way possible. Let's send her to USA. She's there working with experts as we speak, competing there. She just has to be herself in Tokyo, and Mirabai Chanu will return to India with a medal. It will be nothing short of what this perfect athlete, what this great athlete, fantastic weightlifter deserves.
Just a small piece of advice for this weightlifting association. Contact the NRAI. Take a leaf out of their book. And maybe you could turn the page. Give some athletes some due. Turn things right, set it straight. If you don't do it, we're going to keep reminding you. That's what we're going to do here. Now, let's talk about one that we've been watching closely all this while. I personally watch it. I've not followed it as much, but every time the Olympics is around, is archery. It's interesting to watch, and I always feel that we've always been so close, but we've not been able to cross that finish line.
I could not agree with you more, Sid. Every 4 years, now this time of course it's 5 years, every 4 years that the Olympics comes around, we are really optimistic about the sport, saying, okay, archery is a sport where we can definitely get a medal. It has, well, flattered to deceive. It has tried its best, or the archers have tried their best, but they've always come up short. Gracenote says there's a medal there, and there is a real, I would back that up by saying we have a real prospect of a medal in the mixed team. In the mixed team category, it will be Deepika Kumari along with Atanu Das. They will be India's archers at Tokyo in the mixed team. I think they have the best opportunity that we've had in a long, long time to get a medal for India in archery. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for them to finally put archery where it belongs amongst India's medal prospects, and let's see if they are able to do that. It's never happened. We've not got a medal in archery, but well, yeah, it is possible that Atanu and Deepika, they get us a medal in the mixed team in Tokyo, and it's a newly introduced event, the mixed team event. It
Right.
has not been a part of the Olympic Games ever. So it's a newly introduced event. And yeah,
Who
our
knows?
biggest prospect comes in this newly introduced event, which is the mixed team category in archery. So good luck to Atanu, good luck to Deepika. You will be breaking new ground if you get a medal. And yeah, it would be fantastic if you can do so.
Speaking of breaking new grounds, I think it's only right where we do, like Sid said earlier, give credit where credit's due. And there's something that if you follow us, you're going to know that we'll be running this Remember the Name. And these three names, I think, are really important to be remembered because it's the first time the country's ever going to be represented at these events. We'll be representing for the first time in fencing, sailing, and equestrian. And all these athletes, Bhavani Devi for fencing, Netra Kumanan for sailing, and Fawad Alam for equestrian. Salute to you guys. Wish you all the very best. Win, lose, come back, nothing. It's participation in these events that this country's never seen. Y'all are going on to turn the page for something that hasn't been done before. And that, in my eyes, is great enough. So we're here rooting for you, first, last, anywhere you stand, we're standing with you.
Massive respect for these athletes.
Yep.
It's incredible what they've achieved. Yeah, they've done what no Indian has ever done before. I go to Bhubaneswar a lot. It is the epicenter of Indian hockey currently. And the last time I was there, I had got my accommodation at this institution called the Kalinga Institute of Technology. It's called the KITS. At KITS is enrolled Bhavani Devi. And while I was there, the news came in that she had made the cut to Tokyo, or they made the cut for Tokyo. And they were euphoric.
Wow.
The scenes there were unbelievable. There were posters put up of Bhavani Devi. There were cutouts of Bhavani Devi wherever you went. They were celebrating her achievement like the country should be celebrating our athletes' achievements. It was so good to see. They really took to Bhavani Devi, and whoever you would speak to, she really was the talk of the town, basically. And KITS as an institution goes out of its way to support athletes from Odisha. Duti Chand is on the rolls as well at KITS.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a full-blown organization that is supporting athletes there. Bhavani Devi is from KITS, and it was just so good to see people coming together to celebrate an achievement by an Indian athlete that no Indian athlete had ever done before. To have an athlete in fencing at Tokyo is pretty unbelievable.
I think, and I think celebration and celebrating, these athletes when, I mean, it's not about when they go there and if they won a medal and came back. Oh, that's when we all get together and celebrate them. Then all the sponsorships and all the federations want to come and grab a piece of the pie. I think it's important that these guys are known as athletes around the country way before that happens. And like I've said it before in the introduction. If you've not heard our introduction little clip, go check it out. It's a small little one. I think that's what's missing. We as a country and we as a people need to get behind and rally behind these athletes and know these athletes like we do on a first name basis. If I asked you the cricket team, or if I asked you the sport that you love, if you know the athletes at the back of your head, but these athletes you never remember the name, and that's what's going to change. You've got to remember the name. Speaking of, as much as all of it is good with new entrants to the Olympics, there's also curtain calls that are possible. One shocking curtain call that we all know is Saina Nehwal is not going to make it to the Olympics. Unfortunately for her, she couldn't put together the points that were required. The last tournament got cancelled in Singapore, and she couldn't make up her points, and she's not going to be there. It also could be the last opportunity that she had to be at the Olympics. So, how many other curtain calls? We know for sure MC Mary Kom, this very well could be her last. This could have been Saina's last. Am I missing? Is there any?
Yeah, sure. There are quite a few in other sports. There will be Indians competing across 18 disciplines.
Right.
Which is, I think, 3 more than Rio. I think Indians competed in 15 disciplines at Rio. For example, in men's hockey, it is Indian. I think he's the best goalkeeper we've produced in the last 30 years, to be honest, Srijesh. It's going to be his last Olympic Games. But the name that you took said Saina Nehwal. She is, she made badminton players in this country believe that it was possible to go to the Olympics and win. Of course, massive credit to that goes to her coach Pulela Gopichand, no doubt about it. But 2008 Beijing, where she was within touching distance, and London, where she actually won the medal, she really made people believe that this is possible. She did to Indian badminton what Vijender Singh did to Indian boxing. He made people believe. And before we get to Tokyo, and talk about Indian badminton, just let's do a rewind. And Rio was actually India's best performance in badminton at the Olympic Games. We got a silver.
Right.
PV Sindhu did what no Indian had done before. She went one step ahead of Saina Nehwal. Gracenote says no medals for India at the Olympic Games. Now, when Gracenote had made this prediction, Carolina Marin was still in contention.
Right.
She was the defending.
She's pulled off.
She's pulled out.
Yeah.
She's got a knee injury. She's not going to be in Tokyo. That has changed the field quite a bit. The others with, I think, first of all, to start with, the Indian badminton contingent is really, really light. Saina Nehwal's not made it in the women's singles. Kidambi Srikanth has not made it in the men's singles.
Right.
B. Sai Praneeth is the only Indian men's player to have made it. He's ranked 13th. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to medal in Tokyo.
True.
Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty have made it in the men's doubles. Nobody in the women's doubles, nobody in the mixed doubles. Satvik Sairaj and Chirag Shetty have the firepower to make it to the medal category. Will they make it? They're currently ranked 8th in the world. At the Olympic Games, you just never know.
True.
But there's no denying the fact that our biggest chance is PV Sindhu. Can she make it? Especially now that Carolina Marin is not there. We don't know. We just don't know with the
It's
way
just
things have
opened the
gone.
door. It's opened the door a bit
has
wider.
opened the door. I'll tell you what, though, to our listeners in Sportified, again, we promised to get an in-depth on badminton before the Olympic Games. So stay tuned. What are the chances of PV Sindhu? What are the chances of Satvik Sairaj, Chirag Shetty? Can B Sai Praneeth pull out an upset? Well, we'll know, and we'll talk about this in depth later. But there is reason to be optimistic. PV Sindhu is the best badminton player in the women's category that we've ever produced. She's a silver medalist. Come the Olympic Games, she will be raring to go.
Yeah, and I think she also, at the back of her head, she knows at the fact that Saina's not made it. And pressure, no pressure, but it's going to be there at the back of her head, you know. So yeah, having said that, interesting one. We've let a few secrets out. We've let you know what we think about the Gracenote prediction, the upcoming stars to look forward to, the names that you should remember, as well as some of them that might just bow out with this final showdown at the Olympics. So having said that, that's all that we have for today. We will come up with another special. It could be hockey, it could be badminton, it could be weightlifting, it could be boxing, it could be anything.
Maybe all of them.
Maybe all of them. We just never know. So it's unscripted drama, man. So that's all we got for you today. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is me, Sid Kher.
This is me, Siddharth Pandey, signing off. Goodbye. Please do take care. Stay safe.
And we see you on the next one.